This is the first aid only 299 piece all-purpose first aid kit, and I needed a new first aid kit for the car, so I wanted to buy this and try this out and see how good it was. Now, I've been working in fire and EMS for about 10 years, primarily as a paramedic, and so I figured I would go through it and kind of tell you what I think about it, what I like about it, and what's missing. Now, there's a couple things I really don't like about it, but a lot of other things are really good about this first aid kit. The first and most obvious is the bag that it comes in. It's pretty compact considering there's almost 300 pieces in here. And about the 300 pieces, I do think that's slightly misleading because they put a boatload of Band-Aids in here and they count each Band-Aid as an individual piece. So it's a lot of Band-Aids and some other stuff. But the bag it comes in is generally pretty good. Seems, I don't think they say it's waterproof, but it seems like it's kind of a waterproof material. I wish it had some sort of shell on it because if you put stuff on top of it, it might smash it, and there's a cold pack in here and you don't want to break that. But all in all, the bag's not bad. The zipper is actually in decent shape. Again, if you've ever used something like this was the zipper, it's really annoying when it breaks. So let's take a look inside. So the first thing you notice when you open this up is this emergency first aid kit guide. And I think it's awesome that they put this in here. This is a pamphlet by the American Red Cross, and it goes over things like basics of CPR, what to do with tick bites, Lyme disease, all sorts of little basic first aid types of things you might want to know. Not a lot of first aid kits come with this, and I think it's really good that they do this because a lot of people don't know much about first aid. So it's good to have just kind of a reference on hand. Now, how feasible is that in the midst of an emergency? Will somebody pull this out and read it? I don't know. It kind of is on you to read this ahead of time so you at least have the basics of what to do or know what to do when an emergency happens. So we'll start on this side. There's a boatload of Band-Aids over here. There's all kinds of these, just your standard adhesive bandage. I don't think you'll be running out of those anytime soon. There's nothing really to talk about with that. It is nice that they give you a trauma pad. These can actually be pretty absorbent, and if you have a pretty significant cut or a laceration, these are good to have on hand. So I'm glad they included one of these. Sterile gauze dressing pad, again, same sort of thing. There's only one of these. You might not be able to do a ton with just one, but it's good to have a 4x4 on hand as well. A whole bunch more bandages and some fabric bandages in the back in case you don't like the plastic ones or maybe they don't stick as well. So what else do we have in here? Well, again, more bandages, a variety of different sizes, square bandages, the little butterfly closures. These actually work surprisingly well if you have a cut somewhere where it's going to be very deep and you're going to need to close it up tightly and without stitches. And then some really small bandages. You have some fingertip bandages. I like that they give you a nice array of different bandages just because you never know where you're going to get cut. Some of these butterfly bandages. Now this is good. They give you a bunch of neomycin antibiotic ointment. This is also in the same vein as Neosporin or something like that. A lot of other first aid kits don't include something like this, and I understand probably why because there's an expiration date to it. But it's nice that they give you these because this is probably what you'll be using most commonly with your first aid kit. Somebody cuts a finger, cuts a leg, something like that. You want to have these on hand so that you can get this on there as soon as possible before you put the bandage on. Now they have, or a thermometer I should say, a fabric knuckle bandage, non-aspirin, so this is like ibuprofen, something like that. It's good to have all these little things on hand. Now chances are you'll probably have that in your car or somewhere else on hand, but I guess it's good to have it all in one spot. We have large bandages, those are always good. And more sterile gauze, some 2x2s. I wish they would have had a little more well, they have a couple 3x3s. They have just some 2x2s and 3x3s, and they have that one 4x4. These are used constantly, and these are perfect for just about every situation where you have a nick, a cut, or something like that. I wish they would have included a few more of these and maybe taken it easy on all the adhesive bandages, but we'll keep going. So they have a gauze roll, pretty good. These are useful for holding bandages or other things in place. This is good to always have on hand. Some adhesive for that. I really like that they included some gloves because if you have to deal with a stranger, the last thing you want is somebody else's blood or bodily fluids getting on you. A lot of first aid kits don't include this, and this is something you're definitely going to want. Now, if it's your family member and you don't care and you know it's safe, fine, but with a stranger, I'd be real leery about getting another stranger's bodily fluids on me without these on. What else do they have? They have some scissors. I wouldn't even come close to calling these trauma shears. They're not bad. I don't think they're really going to cut a whole lot if you have to cut off jeans or something like that because of a serious cut. These are probably not going to be able to do it. Some Q-tip applicators. These are good for applying the Neosporin or something like that in a specific area. Some tweezers. These are pretty pathetic. I don't really know how well these would work. You might want to invest in getting a pair on your own. Some burn gel, a whole bunch of ibuprofen. This is, again, always good to have. Alcohol antiseptic pad. These are good to have. Wipe your hands down before you touch anybody. Obviously, you're going to be wearing gloves, but also good to cleanse the area if there's nothing in here for IVs, but in the event that you were to need to, this would be a good thing to have as well. Some aspirin, oval iPad. You could obviously use something like this. You can just kind of fold up a 4x4 and it'll have the same effect. What else do we have? So an instant cold pack. These are really good to have around. The thing, like I said earlier, I don't like about this being in here, I should say I don't like about the bag, is this bag could easily get crushed or smashed and it would activate this and then your cold pack is gone. But it's good that they stick that in here. This is something you'll want to use and you will likely use frequently. The Bzk Antiseptic Towelette. These are good to wipe your hands down. Obviously better than the alcohol pad. Use these to clean your hands, or if you need to clean a larger area, this is pretty good. So they have a variety of different things. Sting relief, more towelettes, first aid burn cream. These are all good to have. Some more aspirin. What else do we have in here? We have an aluminum rescue blanket. Again, these are really good to have in a first aid kit, and this is a pretty underrated thing, especially if you live in a cold area or if you're just going to keep this in your car. It does happen sometimes where the snow and weather is so bad, people get stranded on the freeway and cars run out of gas. This is really good to have on hand. The chances of that happening are obviously slim, but if it does, it's better to be safe than sorry. Now you have some tape to secure the bandages. You have some tongue depressors. I don't really know what else you would use these for, maybe as a finger splint and then tape it up. But it's nice to have these in here. More towelettes. And finally, an aspirin. So all in all, this one isn't bad. Now, when you get it, it comes with this essentially inventory of everything that's in here, all 299 pieces. And this is the one thing that bothers me about this. I understand that they have things in here that have expiration dates, so they need to put an expiration date on the kit. At the time I bought this, it is March of 2023. If you can see right here, this expires on May of 2023. I just bought this and it's going to expire in 3 months. I don't really like that. I wish they would either find a way that the things, if they're going to put an expiration date on it, maybe take it off the shelf earlier so you don't buy it thinking you're going to have all these things, and then you're going to have to go buy more stuff. But all in all, this is actually a really good first aid kit considering it's in a small, compact little package, and it's perfect for if you are just going to keep it in the car or if you're going to do light hiking or things like that.